My name again is Comrade Alex Omotenshi. I represent Center for Human and Socio-Economic Rights. Gentlemen of the press, on Thursday, 10th of May 2018, at about 11 a.m., Mr. Jide Bakari, while he was the chairman of the Lagos State Task Force on Land Grabbing, mobilized and led joint team of fully armed policemen armed to the teeth policemen from the Lagos State Task Force and policemen from the state CID Panti to invade the Act of the Apostle Church, Orioke Alala, Makoko. During the invasion, the policemen started shooting sporadically and indiscriminately directly into the community and unleashed violence on the Act of the Apostle Church, Orioke Alala, Temidire. The residents camping for safety resulted in death, injury, displacement of thousands of residents, destruction of properties worth millions of naira, and the community church was also bombed. Two innocent residents, namely Mr. Kolawole Iwalokun and Mr. Seyi Akitimehin, were gruesomely murdered by a Tiga Happy officer identified as Sergeant Seun Awolu, aka Ijaya. What we are trying to say here is that on that very fateful day, it was a sad day, and it remained in the sad memory of the community that they just woke up to see a mammoth crowd of policemen invading the community with guns and different weapons. Not only policemen, they also came with thugs. And then the next thing they do, nobody can approach them. They started shooting and set the church ablaze. That's why this is then resulted to killing of two innocent members of that community who are residents. This is their poster. This is Seyi Akitimehin. This is late Kolawole Iwalokun. These young men are married, responsible men before that very day, and then they cut their lives short. Up till now, no justice. And then before the people at the scene of this incident will give account detail of what transpired on that day, we are aware that the officer Seun Awolu, popularly known as Jaya, is an officer that is familiar with that terrain. So it is easy for people to identify him among others who came and unleashed that terror. On Friday, 11th May 2018, the church wrote a strong-worded 12-paragraph petition to the then Commissioner of Police, CP Ega Imoyemi, against Mr. Jide Bakari, with the caption, "Petition against the Chairman Lagos State Task Force on Land Grabber and Officers of the Nigerian Police Force." And in the same vein, a constitutional lawyer, Mr. J. Badejo SAN, also wrote a strong-worded 16-paragraph petition to the CP tagged the illegal execution of court judgment over the property occupied by the registered trustee of the Act of the Apostle. What this means is that the people staying in that community are not illegal occupants, and they are not living in a shanty. All houses built there were legitimate structure. So all these are what, so that we are surprised what can warrant the Lagos State land grabbing an agency under the Ministry of Justice could invade a community of such that have been there for over almost for over 4 or 5 decades. So they can just invade there one day and then unleash terror on them. So that's why it was tagged a registered trustee. Registered means they are registered residents, not an illegal occupant. On Wednesday, 16 May 2018, like I told you before, some of us here were present immediately this incident occurred. They call us busybody. Your problem is our problem. So once it happened, apart from some of us who are sons of the soil, and then other members of the civil society who felt a slap to one is an injury to all, we all stormed the community and led the community to the state CID Panti to register our grievances over the Dastadia Act of the policemen. And unfortunately for them, some of the officers that came to the scene were the first we saw at the gate of Panti, like a CSP, is it a double, the former OC anti-robbery, D9, the name appears somewhere. So, and several other of them, they were at the gate. They barricaded entrance before we came in because they had us protesting. Mainly they barricade the gates. When we get there, the first person I saw was the first person the name appeared in the list and also ring bell in the lips of residents. So, on getting to the state CID gate, so on that day, some of us in this organization led the residents and as sympathizers in a peaceful procession to the state CID Panti to register our displeasure over unlawful invasion and killing of innocent citizens. Because most of the policemen are from Panti, and then DC Panti, then DCP Yetunde Longe warmly received us because there's no gainsay in line. Why the woman saw the woman was in a very sober mood. She was crying uncontrollably when she saw the banner was bigger than this. And then these are the people that were injured. We went to the protest with their pictures and everything. And the woman could not, for like 10-15 minutes, the woman could not address us. She was trying to control her emotion. So, and when she saw those people, she can't control herself. But she managed later to speak with us. In her speech, while she was addressing us, the DCP Yetunde Longe said, the Lagos State Command did not send any policeman, neither did the command approve any team of policemen to the said operation. She denied that the Commissioner of Police or the state CID were not involved and they were not aware. So, and then she told us categorically that they never approve any petition to that event. They didn't approve any operation, but she assured us that the Commissioner of Police, they got to know of the incident through social media and radio and television programs. And then they assured us that justice will be done. And on that day, she also told us that the police have setting up a disciplinary committee or panel of inquiry to investigate the matter, that they will get back to us. And up to today, she journey is nowhere to be found. She claimed that the command only heard about the incident on radio. Yeah. On Wednesday 23rd, after waiting for her for over a week, we did not get any response. The police commissioner did not invite anybody, neither did they invite the community. Then we summoned courage. On Wednesday 23rd of May 2018, the Coalition of Civil Society Organizations in Lagos State consists of CDHR, URIDAC, ACRA, CWI, etc., in collaboration with the larger National Alliance Movement, INAMO, and also the large umbrella body of the social cultural organization of Ilaje, Egbe Omo Ilaje worldwide, staged a 5,000-man march from Allen Junction to the Government House, allows her to submit a petition to the governor and Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly on the sad situation. The government letter was received by the Special Advisor on Civic Engagement, while the Speaker letter was received by the Majority Leader, Honorable Senator Agumbi Adeyesobi, who also promised that the House will look into our petition, set up a committee that will do justice to all the complaints in the petition, and ensure the deceased and all affected get justice. But till today, both the government office and the Lagos House of Assembly never did anything. This is very shameful. The protests, some of the media here, like Galaxy and MITV, can testify, even Sahara, were aware that on that very day, it was an historical event. From Allen, every resident of Makoko, Orioke, and his axis troop out in white dresses. Some of us dressed in our church regalia to stage a protest. We called 5,000 because we know we are more than 5,000. It was in the entire community. We marched peacefully to Alausa. If we did not even caution ourselves, the police even at Allen, not Allen, at ShopRite, they stop us, they want to intimidate us, and then we insisted that our people should sit on the floor before I think it was a DCP that came to control them, that we should move. And then on getting to Alausa, they barricaded the gate. And because after seeing the crowd, they know there's no way they can escape this. After several arguments and counter arguments, the House of Assembly member came out and told the artillery officer to open the gate for us. And then we marched in peacefully to deliver our letter. All their promises then, up to today, none of them do anything. The only thing we observe they have done is to subvert the investigation and deny the victim justice. So this is shameful. On the 4th of October 2018, that's about 5 months later, another petition was written to the Inspector General of Police with the caption, a complaint of murderous evasion of the Act of the Apostle Church, Orioke, Butemeta, resulting to death, arson, terrorism, abuse of power, trespass, sacrilege, grievous bodily harm, and wanton destruction of property effectively perpetrated by Mr. Sikiru Jifini, Mr. Jide Bakare, and Mr. Bayo Balogun with legion of thugs and heavily armed policemen on 10th of May 2018, contrary to Section 52, 219, 337, Subsection 1, 339, and 41 of the Criminal Law of Lagos State, and call for urgent investigation and prosecution premised on justice and fair play. So after waiting for 5 months, and we can no longer bear it, the people that had injury were in the hospital, nobody is taking care of them. They were left with their own fate and their family. So the next thing to do, we wrote a petition letter to IGP for investigation that we believe the Lagos State Commissioner, because they work hand in hand with the Ministry of Justice, that maybe they want to compromise. So we invited the IGP. So sometime in November 2018, a month later, the policemen from the FCI, the Alagbo, invited the leadership of the church that their petition to the IGP has been approved and signed to them for investigation. So they went to write their statement, and the likes of Mr. Jide Bakare and others alleged the petition were also invited to make statement, but were released on bail same day to supposed reliable surety. The irony of it is that a case of the allegation of this magnitude, the Federal Criminal Investigation Department, Intelligence Department, FCI, the Alagbo, only invites the culprit. Yes, I agree with them. Right to fair hearing is allowed, but some of you are aware the practice of policemen when it comes to a capital offences like murder, arson, robbery. They don't release easily. Yes. But in this case, reverse is the case, because the perpetrators are state agents. After reading their statement, imagine Ejide Bakare was invited to write statement because he's a leader of a government agency. He was released to go on bail. Up to today, the man did not show face in the case, and nothing is done until we get there. Thereafter, the police at FCI, the Alagbo, said they had forwarded the case file to the Directorate of Public Prosecution, DPP, for advice. After some months, the police did the postmortem on the corpse and released them to the family for burial. And since the victim family have been subjected to posting, come today, come tomorrow. Yeah, to confirm that it was truly an incident of murder or killing by police. Police insisted they are going to carry out postmortem on the deceased, Kolawole and Sheyi. And they did that. After they are satisfied with their results, they released the corpse as usual for the family for burial, and the family did the right thing, and then they were buried, waiting for the DPP advice of this matter. To our greatest surprise, after a paddy arrangement and kangaroo investigation, the case file was submitted to the Lagos State Ministry of Justice for DPP advice. On the matter, which is against their normal practice of arraigning suspect before a magistrate court for murder before forwarding the case file to the office of the Directorate of Public Prosecution for DPP advice. This is a daylight robbery of justice. Like I was saying earlier, if policemen are arrested for murder or investigating you for a murder case, they will first of all take you to nearby magistrate court. Go and seek the leave of court to remand the suspect in prison custody pending the time the DPP advice will be out. So we are surprised to show us that this is a very pure state agent game. Without arraigning Jide and every other allegee, they took the DPP, the file to DPP with an arrangement, and at the end of the day, these people were, after perpetrating evil, they were gallivanting around the streets and boasting till today that nothing will happen, and because nothing has happened. But we assure them something will happen soon. Sometime last year, in a letter dated 29 October 2020, where the attention of Attorney General of Lagos State was drawn to the case and the delay in getting the DPP advice, the letter was acknowledged. Letter dated 6 February and delivered on 21st February, they are assuring the people that the office will do the needful. When it was obvious that there is a foul play, the CHSR, our organization, as a reputable human rights organization, in a 20-paragraph complaint letter to the Office of the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice and the Office of the DPP State, dated 28 January 2021, titled Acquaintance of Complaint on Delaying of DPP Advice in a Murder Case since 2018 and our subsequent call for your urgent intervention. After receiving a complaint, in their response dated 4 February 2021, signed by one O.A. Alagbe, a state council, state that he was directed to inform us that the legal advice in respect of the matter has been written and by their office had filed an information has been written by their office, and information has been dispatched for filing at the High Court for the prosecution of the matter, that our organization may apply for the CTC of the state legal advice. After written our complaint that the delay in the case of murder since 2018, the reply was that they have written a DPP advice since 2019. Since 2019, that's over a year before we even write a complaint. So that shows that the same ant that is eating the garden egg is still under the garden egg. So the same Jide Bakare, who is still in the service of in the Ministry of Justice, is still the one manipulating the case, because up to that time, nobody is aware that any legal advice has been given. So based on the response from the office of DPP, we applied for the certified true copy of the legal advice and the certified true copy of a supplementary legal advice. This we give it to we got this from them. A supplementary legal advice dated 20th January 2021 was given to us, which shows that legal advice on the matter has been truly issued since on the 3rd September 2019, where they stated that the office shall prosecute page B3 Shehu Awolu aka Jaya for the offence of manslaughter contrary to section 225 of the criminal law cap C17 volume 3 law of Lagos State. So they now found Shehu Awolu guilty, and why they said Shehu should be charged was because they said Shehu book is the officer attached to Adekunle in this statement that he accepted that he took rifle to the scene but he never booked the rifle. So definitely he had intention to go there and kill. This is even the advice is a contradiction to what they write here. Their conclusion is a contradiction to what they write here. In respect of the DPP advice, we demanded through our letter dated Monday 1st March 2021 that a proper and urgent prosecution of the perpetrators of the heinous crime against humanity. But up to today is 17th December 2021. Since 1st of March, we have written to the Attorney General and DPP to urgently prosecute this element. Up to this point of this press briefing, nothing has been done. The reason for this press briefing is that we have visited the record section in the Ikeja and Lagos High Court. There is no record to show that the DPP is ready to prosecute these evildoers. All effort to get the file number from the DPP office had proved abortive. By this action and inaction, it shows that the DPP office has compromised. Those innocent souls that were sent to early grave, let me substantiate on that. Normally, when DPP say they have file information, they are to give us the ID of the file. So that's the number. So when you get to the record, the first thing they will ask you is the ID of the case. Let's see the number. So it is the number they will cross-check and tell you the court that this matter has been assigned to. So they didn't give us any number, and all we have to be doing is to go there and verify if they have brought the file. The only thing they ask us is go and get the number from the DPP, and the DPP is not ready to release this. So the compromise is still at work. Thank you. The innocent soul that was sent to early grave by the trigger happy officer left behind wives and children. Other victims of this murderous acts are alive and still nursing the gun injury they sustained on the day of the incident. While one of them, Mr. Seth Omojua, who had his affected leg amputated for him to survive, is still alive. Still alive. So as a result of what happened on that day, somebody sustained a permanent disability injury. Some people sustained temporary injury. Some sustained capital. You can see they are still alive, except the two deceased who have died. We still want justice for this. I will not rest on our horse until we get justice. The fact remains that the Ministry of Justice is only trying all within its capacity to kill this case because it involved one of their senior officers who happened to be the former chairman of the Lagos State Task Force on Land Grabber, an agency under the Ministry of Justice. The only regret we have here is that the policemen from FCI Jalagbo shouldn't have forwarded the case file to the Lagos State Ministry of Justice, whose agency under it is directly involved in this case. Alagbo should have think deeply by sending the file to Federal Ministry of Justice, because there's a saying that you can never be a judge in your own case. You are sending a case file of a matter that involves the Ministry of Justice, a director in the Ministry of Justice, to the office of the Ministry of Justice. What else do you expect? So the controversy is between the police and the Ministry of Justice. Based on the fact that the CHSR and other well-meaning civil society organizations ably represented here today hereby demand that the Office of the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Lagos State, should, as a matter of urgency, mandate the DPP to charge the matter to court of competent jurisdiction in the interest of justice, as to restore hope for the deceased and the wounded victim. Yes, we won't mind to defy the government order on my Omicron and stage another mass protest to barricade the Ministry of Justice.